You ever just feel lost in all the noise of modern life? It turns out some of the clearest answers out there aren't new at all. They're actually ancient. Today, we're going to dive into some timeless stories that feel like they were written for our world right now. I mean, it's a huge question, isn't it? It pops up everywhere, in our friendships, at work, sometimes even with our own families. How do you really know who you can count on? Who's truly got your back?
Well, believe it or not, some answers might be hiding in these incredible stories from thousands of years ago. They're called the Jātaka tales, and they're all about the Buddha's past lives. And look, these are not just some dusty old fables. They are a surprisingly practical guide to figuring people out.
All right, first up, let's talk about a classic human struggle. You know, that pull between wanting something right now versus the wisdom of actually thinking ahead.
So, this first piece of wisdom comes to us in its original Pali. And even if you can't read the words, you can almost feel the weight of what it's saying, that warning about what happens when you act without thinking. You know, what's really powerful here is the image. It's not just about losing your stuff, it's about that sharp, sudden regret of doing something foolish. It's like smashing a pot. It's final, you can't undo it. So, the takeaway here isn't to never have fun. Not at all. It's about developing the foresight to see where your actions might lead. It's really about choosing to play the long game instead of just going for the instant win.
Okay, so if being reckless leads to regret, what's the alternative? Well, this next verse gives us the antidote, and it points to a totally different way of finding happiness. This is such a huge shift in how we think about things, right? True peace doesn't come from chasing after every little thing we want. It actually comes from mastering that wanting itself, from finding a kind of contentment that doesn't depend on what you get next.
Okay, let's get into something I think we've all dealt with at some point. The huge difference between a real friend and, well, someone who isn't. The Jātaka tales draw a really clear line in the sand.
Here again, in the original Pali, the tales give us this really strong warning, basically a giant red flag to watch out for in our relationships.
Wow, that is such a critical piece of advice. It's telling us that our energy, our kindness, our loyalty, those are precious. And if you pour them into someone who gives nothing back, it's just pointless, a total waste.
But now, check out the contrast. This is what the tales say defines a true friend. And it's less about what they do and way more about how they make you feel. What a beautiful image, right? A true friendship is a place of absolute safety. It's a bond so strong that nothing on the outside can break it. That, right there, is the gold standard.
So, you see, the difference couldn't be clearer. One kind of relationship just completely drains you, while the other is like a sanctuary. It's the difference between a dead-end street and a bond that can survive anything.
And finally, let's explore that timeless battle between always wanting more and just having enough. The tales are super direct about what real wealth actually is.
And once again, the original text does not pull any punches. It offers this really sharp critique of any kind of success that comes at a moral cost.
This is basically a huge ethical line in the sand. It argues that how you get something is way more important than what you get. Not all success is good success, and some ways of getting ahead are just plain shameful.
So, if getting rich the wrong way is shameful, what's the honorable path? Well, the answer the texts give us is actually surprisingly simple. And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? True wealth isn't about what's in your wallet, it's about your character. A life with integrity, even if you have nothing, is valued so much more than a life of luxury built on doing people wrong. So after going through all these big ideas on foresight, friendship, and what it means to be wealthy, what's the big picture? How do we actually use all this ancient wisdom today?
Well, when you put it all together, you realize these aren't just cute little moral lessons. They actually form a practical framework for living a good life. If you can cultivate foresight, choose your friends wisely, and define wealth by your integrity, you can handle pretty much anything life throws at you.
So as we wrap up, I'll just leave you with that question. Of everything we talked about, which idea really hit home for you right now? Was it the warning against recklessness, the definition of a true friend, or that call to value integrity over greed? Just think about what resonates, because that's where this ancient wisdom really comes to life. Thanks for tuning in.